hi there. This is Julia Molloy from Molloy Management Group. Thanks so much for joining me today. We are going to be talking about the ways in which you can elevate your client experience, and namely using a technology, and it's one that I have been a proponent of for many years now. It is Studio Webware. I'm sure many of you are not surprised. It is absolutely changing the face of interior design and ushering in kind of the modern age of the industry. And I thought it was important that I have you join me and share one of the recent developments of this phenomenal project management tool. And I actually have a special guest here. As many of you may know, we have Lance Haverly from Studio Webware. He is the genius behind this amazing platform for us. And so he's going to be showcasing some of the new features of this new module. It's actually been out for a while. It's called Studio Projects, and it is a way for you to collaborate with your clients online. And for some designers, this isn't going to be that helpful because you have, kind of old school clients that maybe are just barely working on email. But for many of you, this is actually very, very relevant because your clients are traveling, they don't have a lot of time, they are very comfortable with technology, and this is a way to do a few things. One is to speed up the process for you and add in an efficiency that you've never had before, thus making you more profitable because it takes you less time to conduct your normal course of business. And the other is to have you come off so polished. And there's a few things that you can do with this online tool that has never really been done before. And the first few people that, well, I should say the first set of designers that start utilizing this technology are going to be the ones that really stand out from the crowd. And I would say you've got a few years to do that and be distinctive in this way before it's everywhere and everyone's doing it. Okay? So I am going to, getting this button here, I'm going to bring on Lance and have us join us. And let's just pull him up on our little board here. Lance, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here, yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having this. I think it's a really great topic, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
So I think we should just talk first. I'm definitely going to have you show us the module and tell us a little bit about how to use it and kind of how design firms right now are taking advantage of this new technology. But I want to talk at first conceptually about what this is really doing for the industry and for the designers that are adopting it right now. What have you seen out there?
Well, the really important piece of this, I think, is the whole cloud computing concept. We all started hearing about cloud computing years ago, and the start of that was having your applications online to be able to access them from any mobile device, having your data backed up for you automatically, getting automatic updates and all of that. And that was really kind of the initial focus of cloud computing, which was a tremendous benefit and something really that designers could really tap into, especially being very mobile, going to design centers and being a design project. So the entire cloud computing concept was the initial features that it offered were really, really beneficial to this industry. But I think as things are going along now, the real tremendous value is in collaboration. And so once you actually have your application online, you have your business online, your data's online, your proposals, your images, everything is stored online. All of a sudden it's now accessible in so many different ways. And that's really what this collaboration is about, what the Studio Project is about. It's It's allowing your your clients to actually participate in the entire design experience. So you're providing them a whole new way of working with you. So actually providing them access to their design projects online, letting them see and review the design project online at their convenience 24/7, and to actually communicate with you, take notes on the items, approve things, send messages to you. So they're actually interacting on these documents and really participating with you in the entire design process. And that's really what I think cloud computing is evolving to, and it's really what's giving designers now a really tremendous competitive edge. So in the last few years, designers have been kind of nervous about web technology and online and design and their clients searching the internet to find products and pricing and all of that. But there's also these great benefits that designers can really start to leverage now. There are tools that they can provide to really give themselves the competitive edge with all this technology. So that's really, to me, what the exciting part of cloud computing is really evolving to be.
And I think especially with the evolution of the tablet. So, you know, if you are a designer and you don't have an iPad yet, you know, you need to get one. I mean, you even have it as a photographs on your website where the designer's out in the field and she's using her iPad, and it's becoming more and more common now to be mobile. And as a designer, that's one of the challenges that you've had, is doing what you need to do logistically while still being out and about half the time and running from one place to the other. So this helps, well, the whole platform itself helps to address that issue. And then this online collaboration is something that I think there's been two groups of people. One has been very old school, where they want to send, and I'm probably one of those people because I love beautiful paper and, you know, the tangible aspect of deliverables, which definitely plays a part in this. But having a way that is luxurious in that it's taking the medium, whatever medium you're working in, whether it be, you know, paper or, you know, some kind of tangible item, and taking it to its full extent. But the other, you know, it is luxury, it's just a different medium, and the whole idea behind luxury and providing a luxurious experience is that whatever medium you're working in, you take it to its full extent and really satisfy and address the client's needs at that time with that medium. And I think that that is really the crux, in my view, of what this platform does for the designers that choose to use it. It elevates that client experience. And again, when you elevate that experience, you are then substantiating your rates. You are distinctive from the others. You're more confident. You're getting more referrals because people are absolutely so impressed with what you're delivering and how you're doing so. So that in combination with what it does internally, in that it absolutely shaves off a ton of time of back and forth and emails and photocopying and sending things in the mail or sending an email with attachments. All of this is eliminated. And now you're creating a platform for your clients to then come in, see what you want them to see, and I want you to address that, if you would, a little bit today, and then review and approve, give feedback, and all of that comes directly into your email. So you don't have to log in to see it. It's coming into your email, and you go, oh yeah, okay, great. They like this chair, but that green is too bright. You know, that would have taken, you know, several interactions of time. And you know, being the operations specialist for the industry, you know, I have something called the efficiency quantification worksheet, in which we actually count the time. There's, for every interaction, for every back and forth, there is an average amount of time. You know, it's like 0.02 hours or something like that. It's like, you know, 7 minutes or something. But those add up. So 7 minutes here, 6 minutes there. By the time you stop, you know, retrace your tracks, restart your new task, all of that eats up your day. And that's why interruptions are very detrimental to a firm. and a lot of back and forth communication, which is intrinsic to the business. So you can't get away with it. But what you can do is minimize it to the point and streamline to the point where it no longer is detrimental to your firm. This platform does that for firms. It makes it so much more efficient. So the firms that adopt this new technology, at least for some of their clients, I mean, some clients are just not going to be very open to the technology or adaptable to it. But for the ones that are, take advantage of it because it will streamline your process and make things so much more efficient. And again, when you're looking at efficiencies, you know, all that back and forth is where your profits get eaten up. And this eliminates a lot of that. So I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today, and I'd love to have the designers see a little bit of what it can do. And maybe I want to pass it on to you, and I don't know if you want to get into the software yet, or you want to talk a little bit about how it came about and what the designers can do with it.
Julie, while you're doing that, Julie, I'll just kind of talk a little bit about the concept of what we've done here. Traditionally, we've been, back in the 80s and the 90s, we were working on paper and producing beautiful, we were producing paper documents for clients to actually view the proposal. And Julia, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can. I think we figured that out.
Okay, excellent. So I think everybody's seeing my screen. And Julia, stop me anytime if you can't hear me correctly, or if there is a problem seeing my screen or something.
Okay, very good.
So again, we were producing documents via paper, which is basically a static document. By static, I mean it's set in stone. So when you hand them the document, that's what it is, and there's no changes to it. They're simply looking at a very static document that exists. And we evolved all that to PDF. We're much more efficient. We're actually sending a proposal as a PDF, which is still a static document though. So they're looking at the electronic document, and it's, by static I mean it's set in stone, it isn't changing, you're just presenting a snapshot of what the design project is at that particular moment. And so what we're doing with the interactive proposals and studio projects is actually giving your client a snapshot of the project at a moment in time. So it's, how is it today, but they're interacting with that project and it's changing and it's evolving as the project proceeds, and they're having access to that at all times. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go in and start by showing you an interactive proposal. That's the base foundation to how all of this evolves. And then we'll get into studio projects, which is not only a proposal, but it's the entire design project. It's all of the items, all of the rooms, all of the proposals, all of the invoices, all of their payments to you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on items here. And those of you that use Studio Designer now, this will be very familiar to you. Those of you that don't, this is going to be a little foreign. And so don't really focus on all of the different features that are available here. We'll just really focus on the interactive proposal and the features that it has to offer. And so on this screen here, I have listed all of the different items you've ever discussed or proposed to the client.
Hey, Lance?
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. Can you make your screen bigger by chance? Because it's showing up pretty small.
That is, it's very large on my screen. I have a very large screen. I don't know, is that coming in better there?
That actually does make a difference. Thank you.
Okay. So the proposal is where I'm going to start. And what we're looking at here right now is Studio Designer. So this is the entire application. This is where you do everything. So you do your proposals, orders, check writing, cash receipts. This is really the foundation for your entire business. And what we do with interactive proposals and studio projects is provide your clients a subset or a snapshot into this data. So they don't see everything here. You're really running your entire business here, but you're giving them a snapshot of what you want them to see. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Proposal 01 here. And when you open up the proposal, you're basically seeing all the items you've proposed to your client here. And this is, again, internal to you only. And as you see this document, you can do things like click on Edit, which would allow you to edit the date. You can edit the description of the proposal. You can add special instructions for your client to see. If you save that, then it just makes changes directly here on your proposal. You can also view the specific item, and you can make changes to the description or the pricing or the ship to, whatever it may be, so you can actually make changes to specific items, and when you save that, it updates this proposal automatically. You can even remove items from a proposal or add items to a proposal at any time. So this is basically what the document looks like. Once you have this proposal set and ready to go, and you're ready for your client to actually get a copy of the proposal, you can click up here on Email, and it's going to pop up a screen that automatically defaults in all of the email addresses for this client you generally send proposals to. You can add additional email addresses here, remove some. Here's your message to your client, and then if you actually email this, what it's going to do is not send them a PDF or a copy of this. It's going to send them a link to the interactive environment where they can actually see the proposal. And down here we have another button that says View Interactive Proposal. If I select this, it's going to show me exactly what the client will see. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Interactive Proposal, and this is what your client would see specifically. You can see that it doesn't have the edit buttons and stuff to allow them to make changes. It just displays the actual proposal of what they would see. And again, they're looking down through here, and we would add your logo to the top of the proposal. They're seeing specific items with the complete descriptions, pricing. As they scroll down, they see the entire proposal totals. And this top portion is basically very similar to a PDF or a paper document that is very static. But as you see, as we start going into this, it starts becoming interactive. And if you see down at the bottom portion here, it says Accept and Approve. So they can actually just click here to accept and approve this proposal. You'll receive an email that they've accepted it, and it will update your files that they've accepted it as well. Once they've accepted that, then they can optionally have an opportunity to pay for this via credit card through PayPal. So there's some things that just start happening as they start proceeding with this document. And that's all pretty basic stuff, but where it gets really exciting for me is if they come over to an image of an item, or they click on View. When they click that, all of a sudden, they're now seeing more detail about this item. They can see an image, they can see additional images, they can pop that open to see a more detailed image as well. So all of a sudden, instead of seeing a static document that is very flat, now it's an interactive document where they're clicking on things and they're actually diving into more detail, they're seeing more things, they're moving around the document, so they can actually really start interacting with you regarding this particular item.
And you can add as many images as you want here, right?
That's correct, right, exactly. So you can
So
have
it can be a floor plan, it can be sketches, multiple fabric options, finish options, those kinds of things, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Lance, are you able to add different kinds of files besides a JPEG?
Yes, you can. And well, at the top here, these are basically JPEGs, and they can, as you say, be anything from a piece of furniture to fabric to finishes to floor plans, whatever that can be as additional images. But as I scroll down through here, through the description, and I come down through all the pricing here, we have a section down here called Additional Links. This is where you can add any type of document. So it can actually be a PDF or a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or a floor plan, whatever you want to attach to this item as well. So in addition to images, you can attach any kind of document you want. And you can also have unlimited documents. And when you attach these documents to the item, you can find if you want the vendor to be able to see it, the client to be able to see it, or both of them. And these documents can be anything like a specification from a manufacturer website or a photocopy of a check for the deposit you've received from the client, or a link to a finished sample on a manufacturer website. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and click. I have one sample here, When I click on this, it's going to open a PDF. So this is a PDF, a sample, and it could obviously have anything we want here. I just have created a little sample. Basically, again, it can be a specification or a copy of a client payment. Anything you want, any kind of document you want can actually be attached directly to this item. So now we have images they can look at. We have additional links that they can look at and link to. Then we move down into an area called Client Notes. And this area is reserved very specifically for your client to put their own notes about this item. So this isn't really for you to enter notes for them. It's their area to take their own notes. So this is the note the client entered for the item. So they simply save that note, and now this note it says right here the client note was saved, and so now this is saved within this, and the client can continue adding notes here for this particular item anytime they want. When you're in Studio Designer and you view the item, you'll be able to see the notes that they have, but it's basically just for their reference and for you to look at if you want to see the notes that they're taking regarding the item.
Okay. So this is it's almost for their own use. It's for their convenience because again we're moving to digital, so they're not necessarily going to have paper that they're writing in a notebook their note on that item. So we're providing a place for them to write those notes digitally within the item itself.
Exactly. Yes. This is their very specific notes for them, and this is not an area that the designer would go into at all to make notes. This is simply for the client to take their own notes and manage their own information about this. You're right. The bottom portion down here though, is more of an interactive area, the client messages. This is where your client can actually enter a message for you and you can respond. And it's going to track all of these different messages that are going back and forth. So right here, the client may put in, I love this product. Can we go see it at the showroom tomorrow? So they're going to type a message here. When they click on send message, what happens is, number one, it adds it to the list of the messages. So right here, this message happens to be green, and it was entered today. Below this, we have another message that was entered back on 8/8, and it was completed on 9/24. And here's the message from the client, and this was the response back from you, the designer. So right here, we have a brand new message that the client entered to you. So it's tracked here on the item. That's the first thing that happens. And the second thing that happens, it sends you an email telling you that you now have a email from your client.
So it's green because you haven't sent a response yet?
Exactly.
Okay, so you'll be able to... This is so much better than doing back and forth emails.
Well, the great part about it, too, is the fact that it's actually tracked here with the item ongoing historically, so you and the client both have access to all of your conversations that have actual action items related directly back to this item. So, again, number one, it's tracked here. Number two, you, the designer, get an email telling you that they have this question, and even more important than that, it actually adds an activity in Studio Designer for you. So I'm going to go ahead and close this page.
Oh, very good. So this is great for delegation for those of you who have team members, a designer, junior designer helping you with this. This cuts down on that back and forth. Hey, the client, wants to see the showroom. Can you go ahead and schedule blah, 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 back and forth. Just have them log in and see what needs to be done. And there's an activity.
Right, and then it creates the activity. So I'm going to select activities here, and it's the first one listed right here. So SP client message means a studio project client message. So your client has sent you a message. So again, it's tracked with the item. You get an email, and it adds this activity to your activity list. I'm going to go ahead and open this activity where you see the detail regarding this. And the left side of the screen is really where the messaging is done. So right here, this is the message that they sent to you. I love this product. Can we go see it at the showroom tomorrow? You can type in your response. Yes, it is scheduled for 8 a.m. I will meet you there. So you're typing a response, and then if you click on send response, some additional things have just happened here. Number one, it sent the message via email back to your client, so they're now aware that you respond to this. Number two, it added your response to the item, and we're going to go look at that here in a minute. And number three, this is a really great part about this. Number one, you can just communicate right here with your client, but we also have the entire activity features available with it as well. And those of you that use Studio Designer now know that you can come in here and you can assign this a billing code, and you can make it billable because you're going to spend an hour with him at the design center. You can type in the quantity of time you spent, and this activity or this message that came from your client became a tool for you to respond back to them, and now can become a tool for you to actually bill or invoice your client for the time you spent it with them at the in the showroom. So it's not just communication; it's actually communication, reminders, it's follow-up, it's time billing. It can be anything that you want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and close. I'm going to save and close this activity that we just opened.
Right.
And if we come back to items, I'm going to go back in and look at that proposal again. And I'm going to come up and view what the client would see had you emailed this to them. So without even emailing them again, if they were to open this interactive document or this proposal again, and they came and looked at the item, they would see your response here as well. So again, they've typed a message to you, you've responded to it, and it's all tracked right here on the item.
And I see it's still green. When does it turn red?
It turns red when you complete it. So because this was an activity that you're going to do time billing with, I left it open so that when I'm done at the design center, I could go back in, into the quantity of time we spent, and I would turn it into a time billing entry. Then when you invoice the client for that, it would then automatically complete it and add it to a time billing invoice for them. So
couldn't you just complete it on the task itself or on the activity itself, click that little completed button?
I could have if I wanted to. I'm going to come back there right now. So if I come back to activities and I view that activity again, I can just simply click the completed date. And if I complete it right there and save it, it will then turn that to red on the list as well.
Beautiful.
So yes, you can complete things right away here or leave them open for time billing or for future activities. And the cool part about this also, you can even change this. I mean, there's so much flexibility. You could change this employee to another employee in the firm, and you could say, please just schedule this and go show the client the table, whatever it is. So you can pass activities back and forth, but everything again is tracked in detail on that item for your client and you to see.
Very good. That is that has a huge impact on streamlining internally. You know, one of the biggest areas that designers struggle with is once you bring on team members, you've got this whole new task of delegation and communication of information so that they can actually be proactive for you. Huge, huge challenge. This really provides a wonderful platform and a great way for you to be able to quickly just say, well, maybe you don't even have to say anything. Maybe it's coming into their email box. Or maybe you say, take a look at the messages in, you know, regarding the chair on proposal 001. Something like that, and they can handle it. I mean, that's all you need to say. Or just forward them the email. It's done. Super fast.
Exactly. That's we've had activities in the past which were, again, somewhat static and not as interactive, and it's a point we really try to push. Activities are just an area to really allow you to have interoffice communication, to pass tasks back and forth, to track the time you're really spending on projects, and just having a lot of detailed information. When problems occur in a design project, if you have all the details tracked and you show, yes, I spoke to the vendor at 10:52 on Wednesday and this was their response, the more information you have, the more professional you look, and the easier it is to really negotiate with your vendors and show your clients you're really on top of things.
Right. I have a couple questions associated with when the vendor might see those links and such. I don't know if this is a good time, but also the actual space that they log into. Maybe you can show how you activate that for someone, and then they can go ahead and click on a link and see their studio project.
Sure. So what we've shown here so far is simply the proposal. So it's an individual document that you send to your client that they can view and interactively work with you on. So it's just one document, and that's all they're working on. But what you can do is open up the entire project to your client. So I'm going to click on addresses here, and I'm going to open up a specific client. I'm going to select the Studio Projects tab. We have all kinds of different features here that you can turn on and off with Studio Projects, but I'm going to go over the real basics. The first thing you do is enter a password for the client. And the thing is, the really great part about this is they don't have to remember a password. They don't have to remember a user ID. They don't have to remember anything. What we do is we actually send them a link in an email, and embedded in that link is their user ID and their password and their access and everything. So all they do is simply click on the link, and they're going to see Studio Projects. So number one, you have to activate this for them by putting in any password you want. Once you put in a password here, it's activated. If you don't want them to have access anymore, simply come back, remove the password, and now they're deactivated. They can no longer view it.
Right.
So you can leave this active for 10 years, 20 years. So your client 15 years down the road can say, gee, I wonder what, I remember that sofa we bought, and they can go back and actually access all the information in detail at any time. So number one is activating it. Number two, you can view Studio Projects of what your client is going to see. So at any point in time, you can see exactly what they would see. And number three, once you have everything set up exactly how you want them to see it, you can send them the link, and then they can actually start looking at it. I'm going to go ahead and click on View Studio Projects, and now this is going to show us exactly what the client would see. So let's drag this down a little bit here. So the first thing they see is all of the items that you propose or invoice them. And there's a lot of features here available too, where you can actually create a proposal with 50 items on it, and it's not quite perfect yet, so you have it turned off so that it's not visible in Studio Projects yet. So you get the proposal totally perfect. Once it's ready, you send them the interactive proposal, number one, and then number two, you activate it where they can actually see it in Studio Projects. So right here you can see that we have a dining room with 3 items in it. Here we have the family room, and down at the bottom, the living room. You can see that the first items here are all pending approval, so they have not been approved yet by the client. And then down here at the bottom, we have some that have been approved, and they've actually been invoiced to the client. So it's showing them the current status. And again, here the client can see all items. This is not one proposal or one item. It's everything you want them to see and have access to, they can now visually see here on the screen. It even shows them the proposal it's on, or the invoice it's on, and it's again a very interactive environment, so they can actually click on the proposal number, and now they see the complete detailed proposal like we were viewing before. So instead of the entire project here, they're looking at that one specific proposal. They still have access to view specific item details, so when I click on this, they see all that same detailed information we saw in the interactive proposal. They can still enter notes, they can still see the notes they've already entered, they can see all the client messages that they have sent to you and you have responded and what your responses are. So they have all those same interactive features in Studio Projects.
And they know that you've updated that, for instance, because you would send message and it goes directly into their email. So if you add something to it, they'll be notified.
Correct. When you respond, they get an email as well.
Great. And you can attach video to that as well, right?
Sure. In the additional links here, you can have any kind of file you want can actually be attached directly to or linked to the item.
Can I speak on that a little bit?
Sure.
I love that feature. So this is how I envision designers moving forward, utilizing this tool. And obviously attaching PDFs and documents of any kind to clarify what it is and all of that. But one of the challenges that I see designers, that comes across my desk all the time, is they're trying to create a wonderful personal experience for each one of their clients, but they don't have a lot of time. So in the past, it's all been about, meeting them at the showroom, or having them, meeting them on site, driving back and forth, a lot of like one-on-one personal interaction, which is what they crave. And especially the higher up you get, those people need a lot of attention, okay? So you don't want to diminish that. You don't want to take that away. so that you have more time to do everything else you need to do. So I say, let's use this platform to create that personal, fun experience for the client and use video. So we've actually done this rollout with a couple clients with beautiful, wonderful results. And it goes something like this, where you've got a proposal, or you're creating one or something, and you're proposing it to a client, and a couple scenarios could be something like you've got your iPhone or your Android or whatever, and you're at the showroom and you see this amazing chair that your client is going to love. It's going to look wonderful in the space. So you use the video on your mobile device, and you make a little video. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but it can be like, hey Jane, I want you to take a look at this, this chair. I'm at the showroom. It's going to be absolutely, gorgeous in that vignette in the corner of your dining room. Blah 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 blah. Approve it because I love it and it's going to look perfect. And attach that to the chair or whatever. And all of a sudden, it's not just this document that they've got to read through or whatever. You can literally, in a personal way, attach a video and let them know you're thinking of them, and give them some more, verbal details, just as you would if you were there in person. Because a lot of this stuff you're not going to write. A lot of them don't want to read it, but you can add your flourish, you can add your personality and that touch via video attached to any one of these. And I think it's an amazing thing that a lot of designers, obviously this is kind of we're at the cutting edge here. And they haven't used it yet, but the ones that I have helped to adopt this, this kind of new personal touch, this new way, the response has been amazing, because the client doesn't have to do anything except open this and then click on a button, and all of a sudden they got a video of you going, hi Jade, how are you? I saw this, you're gonna love it, blah 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 blah. The whole thing. So I, as a designer, if I was a designer, that's what I would be doing, and I highly recommend that method for your clients, everyone. It's going to make a big difference. And as we see, not just in interior design, but on the internet in general, everything is going toward video. So I say be an early adopter on this. It's absolutely stable, it works, it's really well designed, and it will absolutely help you to take care of your clients in a very personal way without taking up a lot of your time, and also make it really fun for them. So they're opening up a proposal and reading it, but they're also getting to see a video of you. They're explaining why you chose this piece and everything, whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly what this is all about. Having those links, just being as creative as you can with all the different opportunity that you can actually use with the tool now. So yeah, that's a great example.
Fabulous.
And so
okay, so they're looking at everything that all the items here, and then what else?
They can also then dive into specifics, so they can see the entire organization of their project. They can see all the proposals, every proposal you've ever sent to them, what the amounts are, payments, and the deposit balance that they still owe you. They can actually approve it directly from this list as well. They can actually dive into invoices to see all the outstanding invoices. We have a status area where you can turn this on and off of what you want your client to see, but you can optionally show them by room, by item, what the estimated ship dates are. Has it been received? Has it been delivered? So you're actually sharing shipping information with them as well, so they can see dates. They don't have to call you, and they can actually start seeing the status. You can even put descriptions in here of what the item currently is, what the status. It was just shipped from to the warehouse or whatever. So you're really, the notes that you have internally, you can optionally allow your clients to see as well.
So they wouldn't necessarily see everything here, but I could choose which ones I want them to see the status on?
Exactly, and I'll come back here and show you this. So
great.
As you scroll down here within Studio Projects, it says you can optionally display the item status, and here you can just tag on which dates you want them to see. So maybe you don't want them to see estimated ship dates or the date shipped, but you want them to see the date it's received only. Well, by doing that, I've just changed this where it's only going to have the received date. So you're in control of exactly what you want your clients to be able to see.
Awesome.
Then the last tab over here, Summary, gives them a summary of the financial aspects of the project. It shows all the funds that you've received from them. what's been applied to items and what funds are still available to be applied to future items. So if you have clients that give you $100,000 and you start slowly applying that to items, they can see exactly how much you've applied at any point in time. They can also see items that are approved but not invoiced, items that are invoiced, and your time billing. So they can see the total amounts of everything outstanding, payments received, what is the current deposit due on existing proposals, what is the current balance due on invoices for merchandise and invoices for time billing, and down here at the bottom it gives them the total deposit and invoice amount due. So they currently owe this client owes them $2,420.55. So it really shows them a good summary of the financial status of the project, and down below it actually lists all of the checks they've ever paid you. So complete history, so they can actually see the financial status of what they paid and things.
And if they didn't do a check, like let's say that you're just transferring money from funds available into, paying an item, it'll show those transactions as well?
Exactly. And so instead of the check number, it would actually have a funds transfer number or date associated with it here as well.
Okay, very good. Now, for those designers that are trying not to highlight how much money their clients are spending with them, is there a way to hide that or modify it or anything?
We also have additional features where you can turn off monies paid, and so this summary can actually be turned off as well. So you can turn off the proposals tab, you can turn off the invoices tab, so you can turn off different elements of studio projects of what you want your client to see or not. So
that's wonderful. So the summary can be turned off. Let's say, because there's some clients that I work with that are definitely like, I don't want to remind them how much money they're spending with me.
Right.
So they can just turn this off, and it's easy. It's done.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a checkbox, and they can turn this section off as well.
Very good.
I kind of want to summarize here because we're kind of getting tight, so we can do the Q&A. But this screen here, the real beauty to me of this as well is what you were saying earlier, Julia. You can actually create all of these proposals, meet with your client, show it to them on the iPad. So you can see that the format of this screen is reasonably narrow so that it fits nicely on an iPad. So you can actually show this, scroll through this with your client on the iPad. The meeting's over, you're done. Then you can just say to them in the end, by the way, I have just sent you a link in an email that is exactly what I just showed you. So you have now on your iPad, on your computer, on your mobile device, you have everything I've just shown you is now available for you to view at home at your leisure as well. So that, I think, as a presentation tool is really, it's really spectacular.
That is amazing. So again, that's leading to this whole mobile interior designer where you're actually using technology in the presentation. And people are already doing that, showing their portfolio and current shots of the project and that kind of thing, but then you log into Studio and you've got all of the documents and interaction that you need to actually have them sign or review there during the meeting. No more paper.
Right, exactly, yeah. And it's kind of interesting. We have recently received some emails from some of our users because we're not sure how everyone uses this, and it's kind of amazing to us some of the different variations that they have, but some designers have switched where this is all they do now. They are now completely paperless, and they're really doing their presentations this way and interacting with their clients, and it's really exciting to see some designers that have really just evolved and have embraced this so much. And one other thing before we get into Q&A, we're really focused today primarily on interactive proposals, the client presentation, but I just want to take about 30 seconds here and show the other side of this is working with your vendor. So I'm going to go ahead and open an order here, and we have the exact same kind of an environment for your vendors and working with your vendors. So instead of emailing them a PDF order or a paper order, you can actually do the same kind of thing, which is an interactive order. I'm going to go ahead and just view this interactive order. And what you can see here is, again, the same thing. It basically looks like a standard purchase order somewhat, except right here it says it has a vendor order number. This allows your vendor to type in their order number with you, the date that they have acknowledged it, and the person, this is Fred, acknowledged this when when they click on save, it updates your information in your system. So you're not calling them to find out when it was acknowledged.
Yay! That's amazing.
Or anything like that. They're actually giving you this information as they receive the order, acknowledging it for you automatically, and it's updating your information for you automatically as well.
Right.
They can
and
also
you put
dive
in the documents like the floor plan or the spec sheet or whatever it is. Here, you enter it into the item one time, and then you choose which ones the vendor sees versus the client sees. So you're doing one action, and it serves two purchases, for the purchasing side and for the client side.
Exactly. So as we view this detailed item here, it's showing the same kind of information that the client saw, except it's the vendor side. So the costs are not the client side, the costs are the vendor side of what they see. So clients see client costs, vendors see vendor costs, but then again, that information can be shared. So down here again, in additional links, when I created this, I said I also wanted the vendor to have access to this. The client and vendors, they both have access to this one document. So every document, you can define who sees what. But you're right, it's you know the information one time, you share it with your client, your vendor, optionally, either one, and they're, again, participating in this interactive environment. They can even come here and put a comment, this is ready, ready to ship. They can
So what I really like in here, Lance, is that estimated ship date and date shipped that they can log in and enter for you.
Correct.
That is amazing, because as we know as designers, that procurement part of the design process eats up a ton of time, and it's where, generally speaking, the profits go. So you generally in the black all through the design concept, the design phase. As soon as you hit procurement, I see those numbers drop, and a lot of firms, especially when they're working on design fee, or they're not running efficiently, so they can't really bill out all their true hours for to a client, they start heading towards the red as soon as they hit procurement. So that is wonderful. Your vendors can actually participate that and update that information for you. Huge, absolutely huge.
Exactly, and we're evolving an entire environment for manufacturers to really increase their efficiency to help the designers. So that's an area that we're extremely focused on, and I can't talk too much about it yet, but there are things coming to really allow the manufacturer to really increase your efficiency by participating in the project with you. And we'll be doing a lot more, we'll be sending out emails and a lot of information about that, but that's an area you'll see a lot of new features coming here very soon. So it's totally another topic, but we're kind of short on time, so if you
well, I have a bunch of questions here in the queue that I can go ahead and throw out there as appropriate. One person has a question on whether Studio is compatible with iPhones and Androids. The answer is yes, right? It works with both.
Well, the answer is, without getting into too much detail, I'm going to come back here to the home page. We have multiple opportunities. Number one, we currently have an iPhone app. That an iPhone is obviously much smaller screen, so you can't fit as much information as you can on a computer screen. So there's more limited features, accessing your client name and address lists, and activities. And once you walk out of the design center, you can enter your time on an activity for your time billing. We're actually expanding the iPhone app right now. It's not totally complete, but we'll be adding more features that allow you to actually take pictures and attach those pictures to items directly in Studio Designer. So,
and that is with the iPhone. So it is a little bit more advantageous to have an iPhone versus an Android. And I know the time billing app that you have is for iPhone only.
Correct, but once we add those features to the iPhone, then we'll be moving that to the Droid as well. Plus, there are different types of apps. There are apps called native, which means they are native to a specific device. So native for an iPhone or native for a Droid, where they actually use those technologies. And then there's also technologies that are called hybrid, which means you can actually access it via a browser, and you can do it from any device. So I'm going to click down here. If you come to the home page of Studio Designer, down at the bottom we have a link that says mobile, and it shows you what the application would look like on a mobile device. So if you were on your browser, you could actually view this. You can see it's very narrow because your phone is very narrow. So you can view addresses, and you can view activities, and you can dive into detailed activities and earn your time. So even on a Droid right now today, you can use this mobile feature. It's not a full feature native app on those devices, but it gives you a lot of access to the application still. But where on the iPad, it is, you can see the screens that we had, a lot of them are a lot narrower, especially studio projects where you can actually view them and present them on the iPad. But again, to summarize that, on the iPhone and the Droid, we have an iPhone app. We're expanding many features on that. That'll be out soon. Once that's done, we will take that native to the Droid as well. But on both devices, you can still access the entire full application in the browser on the phone, but it's going to be very small because you're on a small device. Or you can even click into the mobile mode where it's going to narrow down the screen for you also. So we have a lot of different variations of what's available on mobile devices.
Nice. There is no extra fee for using Studio Projects. It's in there, right?
Correct. There's no additional fee for that at all. It's all included.
It's all in there. It's part of the deal. I've got a couple other questions. Oh, do you get an email notification when an approval or payment happens?
Yes. When your client selects to approve an interactive document, you will get an email notification telling you that they have approved that, and it will also automatically update the approved date. So if I come over to my proposal list over here, we have an approved column right here. You can see this date is filled in. So when your client approves the proposal, it automatically updates your information as well.
Okay. So you can see all this activity from your proposals tab right there in your interface.
Correct.
And it emails you.
Correct.
Great. What training are you providing? People want to know more about this. What training do you have, Lance?
Okay, well, the training in general, within Studio Designer, if you click on the training tab here, we have recorded training classes that you can take. We have live training classes. So every week we have we have a free new user introduction every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. We also have more advanced detailed training classes, and these are all free as well, where they dive into how you work with images and design projects and accounting. So all of these classes are free, and most of them are not only live, but then we have them recorded as well. So there's a lot of training overall. And on Studio Projects specifically, we are going to be doing a series of training classes on what we just went over here now, so we can dive into a lot more detail and get people really going. But if you're on our email list, we will be sending out notification, and we'll be doing a lot of training on this specific topic. We think this is really the key in the future of where things are going. So we'll be doing a lot of training classes on this, and just keep in touch with us via email on our email list, and you'll see the notifications of when these classes are. And Julia, talk about your resources, because Julie has a lot of personalized training and training classes and videos and things available, and she's her entire team is a great resource for everybody to really not only learn just Studio Projects and these interactive documents, but the entire application and process and procedure. So Julie, talk about that a bit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we're the operations specialists and luxury branding specialists for the industry. I recommend Studio Webware, and I have for many years now, only because Lance doesn't send me any money when you guys sign up. The only reason I do that is because it absolutely is the best tool. And when I am working with a firm to streamline their processes, get everyone on track, get the roles and responsibilities, provide structure, standard operating procedures, and those kinds of things, it weaves in and out of Studio Webware because it is such a powerful platform. It does, and if someone had a question of it does your accounting. Yes, it does all your project management and all your accounting very, very well. So in the process of working with firms, we end up training a lot on Studio Webware, and I have developed several different ways in which to work with our firm, because everyone's working at a different level. They have different price points and budgetary needs and time that they can commit to training and those kinds of things. One of the things you can do is, and I think this is a great starting point for most people, is to visit our website, which is one of our websites, which is the VIP. It's called the MMG VIP, and it just recently launched. I'm going to change presenters to me, and I'm going to show you this new place that has a lot of training videos there that comes with the membership. The first 200 members of the MMG VIP get the lifetime rate of $75 a month. After 200, it goes up to $150. And what it comes with is a ton of videos. I mean, and these videos are not like super polished and amazing in terms of, scripting and all of that. They're literally live training classes with the designer. So for instance, I've got Chana, who's a very technologically challenged designer, which I know a lot of you can identify with that. And I walk her through the process, and there's a lot of training classes, as you saw, through Studio Webware, but I do it in a different way. I do it more like, okay, Chana, you just signed up for Studio Webware. What do you do? And I'm like, okay, now click on this. Now, what does this mean? And she asks questions, and I help her to set up her Studio Webware. I help her to understand how to use items and how to set up her sales codes, and really like, what is a sales code? What does it affect? And what's your methodology for setting up your sales codes? Those kinds of things that put it in context and are very real. I mean, we're laughing. It's a very, personal kind of thing. And all of those, for the moment, they are free with the membership. And again, you pay $75 a month with the membership, and you download anything you want for free. And then anything that isn't free, there's a ton of documents, operating procedures, training videos. All of these webinars, by the way, I've done a webinar pretty much every month for the last year. We don't make them public, but all of the webinars are there available as part of the membership, absolutely free. So, like all of these, all of these are, training videos using addresses, all of this stuff. All my webinars are free in there. So you can sign up, and there's no limit. You can, sign up and be a member, and if you don't like it or don't want to join any longer, just cancel. You're not going to want to, though. There's online collaboration. You really get to work with a peer group twice a month. Like I have one later on today. All the people that are members of the VIP, we're meeting again. It's every other Tuesday, and it's a place for people to ask questions, collaborate, Q&A. It can be detailed stuff like, how do I do this in Studio Webware? I messed up something. To I'm not sure how to construct this contract for a client. Everything. And it's not just me, it's the other designers collaborating and sharing ideas and creating a peer group, which is really so powerful. We're getting amazing feedback from that. So I do recommend this. It's interiordesignbusiness.com. You can go online and sign up, watch the free videos, watch the webinars. This webinar will be up there within a matter of a day or so. We'll have this one up and live as well. And also, I've got a few questions in here. People saying that they weren't able to see all of the screen of Lance's screen because it was a little bit off center. But don't worry, because it'll be up here on the MMG VIP, and it's perfectly center for me, so the recording will be pretty clean for you. Okay. In terms of other training, you can purchase. We have something called the Studio Webware Integration Program, where we work with you one-on-one with your firm. There's some training videos that we have you watch, homework we have you do, and then we log in with you to help you set up your defaults, help you train you and your staff until you are up and running. And for those of you who are technologically challenged but really do want to engage in this platform, you may want to consider something like that. And we also have an hourly. You can purchase time 3, 6, or 9 hour increments. And where if you're you're in it, but maybe you have some questions you want to fine tune on a personal basis, buy a block of 3 or 6 hours or something like that, and you use it as you need it. You can call in with questions, email us, we'll respond, and just let you know training sessions with you and your staff, and let you know when you're low on time, and you can sign up for more time. Or a lot of times that's all you need. So anyway, I've created a lot of programs that I'm hoping kind of address your needs where you're at. The one other thing I can share with you is that I've created something called the Business Blueprint, the Interior Design Business Blueprint, which many of you may have heard of already. It is that foundation. So it's based on a firm that is a standard interior design firm, that is using Studio Webware as their, accounting and project management software. And it's literally an operations manual. I have a few different versions, one for sole proprietor, one for small businesses, and one for a larger firm. But they have documents, contracts, all your standard operating procedures. I mean, the thing is this thick, and it comes with a ton of documents that you need to run your business, job descriptions for each role, your hierarchy chart, telling you pretty much how to do this. And it's very affordable, and it comes with training, because I know you're going to get this manual, it's going to have your logo on it, you're going to be like, oh, it's gorgeous, but you don't have the time to read it, and it's more like a reference manual anyway. So it comes with 4 live training classes, and we give you those recordings so you can train your staff or future employees with those videos as well. And I walk you through the process of the life cycle of an interior design project. Like, okay, your new client checklist, you've got that in your documents. The office manager does this, you do this. If you're sole proprietor, you're doing all of them, but I want you to have in your head, this is what, this is what this role is supposed to do. Setting up your template, and running through the process, the rhythm of your firm, the process of running a design project, how you set up your binders, your team meetings on Monday, all of those things that you're trying to kind of create and trial and error and all of this stuff. I train you on it, and it's amazing. So if you are interested in that, where you've got your Studio Webware and then you've got your standard operating procedures to create this nice foundation and this structure for you, it's pretty powerful stuff. I'm going to show you something that is my hierarchy of needs, and it's something that I've developed. This is what my firm and what this membership addresses, and that you've got your foundation, and you've got your team stuff that you're dealing with and trying to set up. All of the documents and procedures, training that you need in each one of these tiers is in here, and I'm adding new documents and new stuff every month. This is what our firm specializes in: getting your foundation solid, getting your team in place, doing the right roles, doing the right things at the right price point, process flow, workflow kind of thing, get you efficient and running really well so you have a little bit of bandwidth personally to stop and say, okay, how do I up my game? How do I attract a higher level client? How do I get more referrals? What's my strategy, my company positioning? How do I create an amazing signature experience at every point of contact with my clients? This is how people become luxury. You become luxury from the inside out. And it's by doing some of this foundational work so that you are luxury. You emanate that confidence because you are running better. You're just better. And you have time. You have a little bit of time to really add polish. So anyway, that's what I've got. You're absolutely welcome to log in and sign up or call us, email us, and I can provide you all the detail you need to move forward and that kind of thing. So I think we're pretty close to having our time run out on us. I know that there are several more questions in here that I can address, and what I'll do is I'll email you guys directly, and I think I have their email addresses. I've got all of your email addresses because you've logged into and registered here, so I can address them directly with you one-on-one via email, and get all your questions answered. Does that sound good? All right, so I think that's about all the time. Do you want to have one more thing to add before we close out this session today, Lance?
I just want to thank everybody for joining and look forward to hearing more from people. Email me directly anytime as well. Just lance@studiowebware.com, or visit our website, www.studiowebware.com as well. And love to hear any input anybody has.
Great. And I have a question here about the cost. It's only $35 per user per month. It's very, very cost effective. So anyway, we got one of those questions out there. So I highly recommend it. If you're not already on Studio Webware, make the leap. Do it. And you've got some support here between his training and our programs. You've got the support you need. So there's really no excuse, even for those of you who are technologically challenged. We're here to help you. just do it, because it is the way. It is the way of interior design going forward. Okay? All right, well, thank you so much, Lance, for joining me. Thanks so much for that great demonstration. And I saw that you added a few things that I hadn't even seen yet, so it was really exciting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yes.
So thanks so much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And again, this webinar will be for a free download with the MMG VIP membership that you can go ahead and get at interior-design-business.com. And I hope to see you all there. All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Thanks, Lance.
Great. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.